Check 1 2.
Check 1 2.
Okay. Half an hour wasted already getting this fucking stream up and running. Let's see if this actually stays up. So I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling a lot better than yesterday. I just took a Nighquil. So hopefully my nose stays clearish. I think I'm definitely feeling a lot better than I was. Alright, let me do socials and then we're ready to go. Oh no. Okay. It's saying excellent. I don't know. Tonight's really fucked up. I think it was on my end. Like, I kept trying to have music on, and something wasn't, like, behaving. I don't know what it was. So, no music tonight. Okay. Surely the 5th time we started a stream, this will work. Okay. We're just gonna roll with bits and all. So, as soon as I finished Monday's stream, I started realizing that there was a lot of things I just kind of forgot to cover. Enough that I made a new slide deck. So, we're just going to go through it really quick, then we'll play more children. So the first big one I've got is the whole point of this whole fucking presentation, why I started talking about Second Densetsu and the World of Mana series, culminated in this one big fucking fact that I didn't realize until after I started playing children. And it was this right here, you know. I talked about it already once, but basically Children of Mana was supposed to be the sequel to Dawn of Mana. Dawn of Mana did not come out until 7 months after Children of Mana. That's a pretty big gap, right? And you might wonder, okay, what's the point? Sometimes this happens, or it doesn't always have to be sequential. Well, throughout the game, there are several points where they will reference someone, something, or some event that had happened in the previous game. And it's a bit confusing, especially when the last game that you did play was Sword of Mana, and you see Watts, and you hear about Mavolians, and you have all the same sprites, and you're on Illusia, and there's Topple, Wendell, and Jad, and Ish. And you think, okay, obviously I've missed something here from when we last saved the world to now, and then there's like this kind of calamity or something, everyone's dead, like what the hell happened? And then things don't make sense, like Watts being the king of Ish, that doesn't make any sense. And things begin to kind of split off. Oh hey Rob, I just got the stream started. It's been a fucking rough night. It's been a whole rough week. I'm not feeling too well, and I don't know why, but the fucking stream just would not start. It kept like turning on and then kicking off, and turning on and kicking off, and it's finally working for 5 minutes. So tonight we're doing an addendum to a PowerPoint I did on Monday on Children of Mana and why it's kind of a dumpster fire development wise. And the big thing is it's a sequel to a game that didn't come out till 7 months after it released, making it more of a prequel, except you needed to know what was going on in the game that it was supposed to follow to actually understand what's going on in the plot. And, it's a pretty basic ass fucking second Desetsu plot, like bad thing happens, you have the Mana Sword or the Holy Sword, you have to stop bad guy, and then your friend becomes the manager. Fairly bog standard shit, but as you can see here, there's a lot of points in the plot. I had a minute teaser. No, that wasn't a teaser, man. That was me fucking up the fucking streams. That was me fucking swearing. Where the fuck is this teaser? No, that was the stream failing to start properly. We'll call it. I like teaser. I like that. That's a better term than what I had. I call it a fucking train wreck. That's what I call it. So that's basically what's going on with Children. It was really hard to follow, and it was seemingly a sequel to a game it had no connection to, which was Sword of Mana, which has none whatsoever. That game is just a standalone remake of FF Adventure, and this is something completely different. Completely different fucking alternate universe, too. Just on its own. Really weird coincidence, though. I guess that kind of comes with the territory of having characters be in different canons. I don't know, realities, whatever they fucking call it. Anyway, I wanted to go back to this slide too because I missed a big thing and I didn't realize until today. So you see how we have that deviation off, whose names I forgot. Fuck, hold on. I'm just going to pull my slide from... Thank God I put this shit on Twitter. I just put my whole slide deck on Twitter in case someone wanted to look at it, and it's going to save my ass right now because I can actually pull up these names instead of flipping back and forth like I was doing. Here we go. Okay. So when Shinichi Kameko and Koji Suda, who are the Salamander and Jin, split off and made Brownie Brown, and they made Sword of Mana. I forgot a big key detail, and I actually got it mixed up with Grezzo. I said that they had made some Eglia, like Grezzo had made some kind of Eglia game, but I couldn't remember the exact term or what it was. No, that was actually mistaken, because in 2013, let me pull that in, I forgot to crop this properly, when Brownie Brown became 1UP Studio, that was actually because these two had left again. They went off and formed yet another separate studio called Brownies. And 1UP just kind of went off and did its own thing after Fantasy Life. And that's actually pretty big, because number one, Eglia is their thing, and we'll talk about that, come back around to that again in a minute. But the other important thing is it kind of basically sealed the fate of 1UP Studio. And I'll just bring that up to the next slide here. With them leaving, the whole Mana essence left 1UP, and you really don't see it ever again there. They just kind of became this vestigial lump within Nintendo, and they just worked on Nintendo IPs after that. Which brings us to, where are they now? And these are the easy ones. We have Squeenix, which obviously is doing fine. They've just made Final Fantasy 16. I know nothing about that fucking game beyond that one guy who says bullshit and turns on like Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit or whatever it fucking was. But yeah, 1UP Studio, after those two guys left, whose names I forgot already, just kind of became this like separate lump thing within Nintendo. It didn't get absorbed whole, right? But they basically only ever co-develop Nintendo licenses. And the last things they've done are Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. So Rip to those fucking guys. Something kind of interesting though is like a lot of the talent that followed names. Shinichi Kamioka and Suda ended up going into Nintendo. Like they went from it's kind of fucking weird because of the whole fucking split with the after the PlayStation went to Sony instead of Nintendo. They went and they put Legends on the PlayStation, and then a lot of them stayed and went back to Nintendo after that. And I think virtually none of the original crew are in Square Enix anymore. So it's like it kind of just like separated off. So kind of shitty if you liked Fantasy Life, but hey, I mean, really, if you think about it, the talent that made that game so special probably just wasn't there to begin with. Meanwhile, we didn't really talk about what these guys are doing today, and they're actually still making games. Oh no, my keyframes. I don't know what that fucking means. Okay, whatever. So Brownies, as I said, Eglia, it seems to be this kind of spiritual successor to the Mana series. I don't know particularly anything about it. All I really do know is that there's a game on the Switch. There's like three of these, right? There's like three of these, but I don't think they were ever brought to us. And I think they were just like Android games, right? They were mobile games for a while, and then they got put on Switch as kind of like shareware. And you could actually go and buy this one, Eglia Rebirth, and it looks pretty cute. I would be willing to go give it a shot. And then there's something called Tawa and the Guardians, and this is a Bandai game, but it's developed by Brownie specifically. Looking at it, it looks kind of generic. Like, it definitely doesn't look like a Mana game. But again, I would be willing to give this a try, just to see if there is still some DNA of Mana floating around out there. Meanwhile, Grezzo and Koichi Ishii, the last thing they were doing was they were working on some of the level design for Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I think was a pretty well favored game. I think it wasn't anything particularly special, but if you like that kind of cutesy block animation from the new Link's Awakening, there's a little bit of Mana in there, I'm sure. Then there's also got this Jet Dragon game. It's an iPhone game, and apparently you can still buy it because that screenshot is actually from my phone. Well, you can get it. I don't think it's actually costs money. Again, don't know too much about that one either. Most of these games, it's hard to find any information on. They're very small at this point. So they're still making games, unlike 1UP, which has just kind of been absorbed into a larger being, which is cool. So these games, potentially, if you're still looking for a Mana game and Visions just didn't really do it for you, or the remakes aren't really getting to you, or you're not feeling like you've played a real Mana game in a while, maybe one of these will get to you. Eglia seems like a good path to go down, and I think it's like $20. I might buy that, honestly. I have a Switch. I don't know about streaming it. I'll have to get something figured out for that, but maybe. Okay, now, kind of an interesting subject, and this is we're going off on a tangent now. This isn't even fucking Mana related at this point. 1UP and Brownie Brown did Fantasy Life, right? That's kind of the last game that names Shinichi Kamioka and Suda. I like Suda's name. It's so much easier to say. That's the last kind of game they worked on right before they left. And as you may know, you may not know, there actually was another Fantasy Life that came out this year. I had a buddy at work who was super fucking excited. I introduced him to Fantasy Life and he got hooked. And then he was like impatiently waiting for the opportunity to get the new one. But here's the thing, no one really was left at that point who had worked on Mana, let alone had worked on Fantasy Life. Uh, and One Up Studio was doing other stuff this year, especially with the Switch 2 coming out. So they actually, uh, I don't think licensed out was the appropriate term, or contracted. They did something, some kind of agreement. Level 5 actually developed this one. And if you don't know who Level 5 is, they've actually been around for a very long time. They did the Dark Cloud series, the Dark series, and also the Yokai Watch series. So they're not, again, they're not some kind of hacks, like the same way with Next Entertainment, right? Like, they're a different company from the main bunch, but still they have a pretty good reputation under their belt. Um, so if you're gonna play Fantasy Life, the new one, and it doesn't quite feel like Fantasy Life, that's probably why, right? Not every game is going to have like a sequel that is still in the same development team, and you get DNA from other games kind of mixed in there, right? Um, Now, why am I talking about this? This is kind of off. Well, we have to talk about Visions of Mana real quick. Again, something that I kind of neglected last time. So we know that Koichi Ishii is over in Grezzo at this point. And we know that Shinichi and Suda over in Brownies. So who's actually driving this fucking bus, right? I had thought coming into this, it would be an easy answer, right? They just got everybody back together. They got the band together back for one last show, right? That's what I thought was going to happen. That's not at all what fucking happened. This is where things get weird, okay? It was actually done by Orca Studios, Alka Studios, which is a subsidiary of NetEase, which is a subsidiary of Tencent. Um, and they're best known for being shut the fuck down last December. um, so I can't find anything on these guys. I could barely find a fucking logo for them. Uh, it's not obvious. It's not as cut and dry as I was hoping it would be. You know, it seems like Visions was it. I don't know where these guys came from. I don't know how long they operated. I know that they had started working on Visions back in 2020 before COVID hit. Um, they may have just been a one-trick pony. Honest to God, I can't find any information on these guys. So I started looking. I was like, okay, so we know what company it was. Do we know who was actually on the credits? And it's a bunch of people who I don't really know. We can talk about a few. So first off, Koichi Ishii does make a return. He was one of the artists, apparently. That's where he's credited on here. But we also need to talk to two guys that I didn't really talk about here. And that is Hiroki Kikuda, who is actually the composer for Secrets and Trials. Apparently he took a break. He had done some of the remakes in the post World of Mana phase. But he mainly came back for this one. So if you like the music, like a lot of the music, I think we attribute back to him. Since he composed it, like the do 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 do. I think that's his, right? And then we also have Tsuyoshi Sakido, and he was the composer for Dawn. Something else kind of interesting is he's apparently had a name or had a finger in a lot of that polymorphic content that Square had come out with in the mid 2000s, which is really interesting to me because you didn't really see a lot of those people come out of that era. You know, this is still a point in Square Enix and in like the whole Mana series you don't see a lot of people talk about. It's kind of like an uncomfortable truth right now, right? Like we're going to hit nostalgic points very shortly because we're going on 20 years from this point. So people are going to start saying, oh, nostalgia, I remember the children's, I remember fucking Dirge of Cerberus, you know, it's like, there's going to be a wave of nostalgia for this shit that's largely been neglected and kind of passed on, panned on for a long time. But I don't think a lot of people's careers made it out of that point, you know, because it just did not really go over how I was expecting. So my big takeaway from all of this is Visions is probably not going to play like a mana game. I know, shock of the fucking century, right? But if there really wasn't anyone in the programming and design wise who had actually worked on a mana game prior, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of mana game in it, right? That's kind of like, that was the general gist of what I'm trying to say here, right? So I'm not saying don't go out and buy it. I'm going to try and find a copy to play at some point, but don't really expect it to play like Secrets or Trials of Legends, all right? It's probably just not going to fucking happen, okay? Okay. Why is that so fucking blurry? Why is that so blurry on my fucking... What the fuck is going on here? What? Quality 720, my foot. Okay, there we go. I don't know. Preview was extremely blurry. I hope that's not the case for you. Anyway, I think that's my final slide. Yeah, I was going to put some fucking meme, but apparently no one fucking memes mana. Go figure, right? Alright, so now we can finally play some children. Until I remember that I forgot something else anyway. Oh, shit. Okay, I was getting a lot worried. It's like, where's the sound? Okay. It's a bit loud on my TV for some reason. I hope that doesn't echo. Let's turn the mic just a little bit more. Just be safe. Alright. God, that is so fucking loud. Why is that so loud? I want to caution anyone, by the way. I'm going to assume most people are emulating this game at this point, right? Because I can't imagine it's easy. I'm so tempted to turn that down. Can I do it from here? There. Okay, that's better. Thank God for that. I don't know why it's back up to 13. I'm assuming that most people are going to emulate this game because I can't imagine that there's a lot of copies that are still floating around, right? You need to understand something about this. And I'm just going to go into... let's go do that bugbear, whatever the fuck it is. Dubbear, whatever. Let's go do that mission real quick here. Dead bear, yeah. Yeah, I bet, man. It's fucking cold out these days. Okay. So what you have to understand about this game, it's horribly optimized. And what I mean by that is, Mana's known for its combat and how it flows, right? That's kind of the big thing it's known for. And this is a very combat-heavy game. You know, one of the most of the series, I would argue. However, that being said, Jesus. Okay, I need the barrel. Um, it is very, very slow. Alright. Natively, this game runs slow. On the DS, it ran slow. On a 3DS, it runs slow. It is just a slow fucking game. Alright? And that's even with no enemies on the screen. You know, with more things happening, it gets slower. But let's just talk about like this. Even just doing this, and it looks nice now, but there is a lot more of a delay here than you might imagine. You definitely have to get used to how it feels. Even though it's a combat-oriented mana game, it is a very slow combat-oriented mana game. Like, you can't just do this and expect to actually like block a projectile. Like, I can do this, and that guy can shoot me with a bow, but I'm not going to get my shield up in time, even though I need to, right? Like, and again, it just gets worse from here. I'm trying to give examples, but they're not cooperating. Or they're just dying too fast. So it's awfully fucking awkward. It's a game you really have to get used to the feeling of. I talked a little bit about it last night too, and it's really not a game that you have any wanderlust for. There we go. There's just like the whole fact that each floor is divided and separate to itself does not really help the sense of exploration. You know, if anything, you feel like you're kind of just like exploring floors of an IKEA. You know, and that's with everything. You know, that's not just this level, it's every fucking level. Regardless of how large it actually is. Without anything actually to unite it, anything to connect one room to another, there's an awful little amount of exploration or sense of exploration. Caves Jones, you know. There's just nothing really here. And it doesn't help that the enemies are constantly recycled from like 5 or 6 types, and the floors only have like 7 or 8 tile sets, if that. I don't even remember. I also have to caution you too with level growth and just growth in general. Like last night I was having a rough time. And that was partially because of the emulator running a little bit slower than I was used to. On top of just being sick and just not being able to focus properly. But then on top of that, there's the input lag, the emulator lagging, and the natural lag that's already built into the game. How close is treasure room? Like here, I'll try and give an example. The animation for slashing does not allow me to block within the same combination. It looks like it should, but it doesn't. I mean, there's a way to like increase your action speed or something like that, but it's slow. It's gonna stay slow. I took a couple Nighquil earlier. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be fine. It's not going to affect me. It's affecting me. After all this fucking effort and work to get this fucking shit to run tonight, I may actually have to call it early because I'm fucking, like, my eyes are not able to focus right now. Just kind of watching, like, vague shapes move around the screen. Well, like I said last night, I think honestly, the game wants you to engage with this system, right? Because we're really fucking underpowered compared to when we went in the Jad. We were getting our fucking ass kicked by fucking Hornets, right? We didn't even make it like through the first room. But at the same time, like the more of these fucking quests you do, the more you begin to realize, oof, there's some good fucking gems in here. The more you begin to realize that things are not as they should be, you know? It's all Mana Tower. All the way down it's Mana Tower. Okay. I want this one. And I think we should go ahead and fuse a couple gems here. We need some extra health. And see, this is where the game really gets you for enjoying. Oh, God, that's good. Oh, that's very good shit. Okay, I kind of want that. This is where the game gets you with the gems, right? I really like the gem system. It is a wonderful system. It really makes you want to continue to play the game. Like I was having to resist today. Oh, what's got to go? Sideways not really doing anything, I don't think. I was seriously resisting just playing this on my own today, you know. I don't want to burn myself out too quick. Let's get rid of this too. There. We can respec and parry, so we're working on getting this this other one. What about that impure? What was that reserve? 15? Yeah. Now that we can nullify everything, That might give us a little bit better defense. But the problem is, the biggest fucking issue is that at the end of the day, in order to actually use any of these gems that you fuse, and in order to actually do anything, you're going back and doing the same fucking shit over and over and over again. You know, it gets old regardless of what kind of gems you put on. Okay, so now we can do this. Where before we were still taking damage from those melee attacks, now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, it's money shit. This also kind of sets us up to use magic more too, which is nice. Because now I can throw it down and then wait. Like that. Ooh, I think that's a good one. Oh. Man, just having a hard time fucking staying awake right now. What a shit night. Get fucked, nerd. Oh my god. Whew, fuck. Struggling to stay awake right now. I'm gonna stand up, stretch my legs a little bit, get a cookie. I'm fucking. Hi. See, like that right there. Didn't have a chance to actually block that. What's that one count one? Got blocked really early though. I have to confess, I think there's something really interesting about using a sword and only a sword as a defensive weapon. Which, if you often think about it, makes no sense. You know, from a conventional standpoint, but there's actually quite a bit you can do to keep yourself safe with a sword. Generally, though, it kind of inherently relies on the idea your opponent's not going to just run into it headlong. Oh, right, I forgot the fucking wizardry mode. Damn it. Casting's really slow too, but I always slow on Sora as well. God damn it. Well, at least we got one in. That's the fun of the roulette wheel. Ah, shit. Just dozing off again. Fuck. I should use that fucking rut. Well, let's just see what it was. Yeah, just entry. Oh man. Time for new jewel. So it's in here. My defense, foil training. So what's in the gym I just got? Plus 10. Alright. Let's see here. Alright, I have to call it. I'm falling asleep. So, egg on my face. Lesson for next time. I'm going to try and take a Nighquil before we stream. I'm sorry. I apologize. I know I didn't stream very long. Next week, we're going to actually try and make some fucking progress, okay? We're in a way better position now. We've got a few pretty good gems, so we should be able to get through Jad. Anyway, I'm going to bed. Good night. See you next week.